Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another knife review for you. Today we have the CRKT Piet, or Pete, depending on how you want to say it. I've heard it both ways. I am pretentious, so I say Piet, but I'm perfectly willing for someone to correct me in the comments. It might be Pete, I don't know. But anyway, really cool design. Budget design from CRKT, only $28.95, which is something that I want you to keep in mind as this review goes on, because this is a Jesper Voxnaes design. One of my absolute, if not my favorite knife designer in the world. I love almost everything that he has come out with. Ergonomics are usually awesome. This is no exception. What are you getting for $28.95? Well, you're getting 8CR13 MOV steel. I'm not going to do the womp because it's $28.95. When you have a $50 knife that's 8CR13, then it gets a womp. But $28.95, no, that's fine. You have GFN scales, which are really nicely done, I do have to say. I'm not always a fan of what I like to refer to as fancy plastic, but this one, they are really nice. They remind me a lot of the Voss that I had. That was also a Jesper Voxnaes design with the field strip technology. They feel a lot like that, and that was a much more expensive knife. Nice aluminum backspacer, deep carry clip with recessed screws. Lots of really good touches for $28.95. It is running on Teflon washers, nothing fancy there, but it's a reversible pocket clip. Really hard to knock for $28.95. Thumb hole deployment, really cool knife. Let's do some specs and size comparisons before we get too much farther. I think you guys all know this is going to be a pretty positive review. I will explain why at the end, and I will tell you how to get to a video that explains it better than me. So, we have an overall length of 6.5 inches, a blade length of 2.6 inches, blade thickness of 0.13 inches, and a handle thickness of 0.46 inches, and a weight, according to my scales, of 2.45 ounces, so pretty lightweight as well. Definitely under that ounce and inch ratio that we all like to see. Size comparisons, we'll start out with our usual Spyderco sandwich. We have your Spyderco Paramilitary 2 and the Para 3. So as you can see, not a large knife at all, just a good smallish EDC size. Move these up here so they're actually in frame. That would be nice, Brian. There we go. Yeah, pretty good little EDC size. Definitely not a big knife at all. But probably more appropriately to use as a size comparison, since this is a budget knife and those two kind of aren't. We have your Ontario Wrap Model 1, which is obviously much smaller than, and your Ontario Wrap Model 2, which it is closer to, just a little bit smaller than a Wrap 2. Lastly, I have a couple other CRKTs here we will bust out. One is new, one is another Jesper Voxnaes design that is very popular. So you have the new CRKT Thera, which you will be seeing a review of this in a little while, which is also not that big a knife. I thought it was going to be a little bigger than that. And the CRKT Pilar, which is a Jesper Voxnaes design. This is the original all stainless Pilar. Not really that much bigger than the Pilar. Now, let's talk about this knife in the things that matter. First of all, the blade, the most important part. We always start off with that. 8CR13, yes, not mind-blowingly awesome steel, but CRKT actually doesn't do that bad a job with 8CR in my experience with the heat treat and stuff. It's actually usually okay. Still got some sticky stuff on there. And yes, I did cut my thumb before anybody asked. I didn't do it on a pocket knife. I did do it on a knife, but I did it making dinner last night. So I'm sorry about that if it looks a bit gross. It's really hard to do knife reviews with a Band-Aid, so suck it up. Anyway, I really like this blade. It's really great to use. It's just a very useful little shape. It's like it came screaming sharp out of the box. I have no problems with that there. I have put it through some cardboard tests and stuff like that. It's still held up pretty darn good. I have not touched it up yet. It's getting to a point where probably if I'd have done that cardboard test twice, I probably would have had to have touched it up a little bit, but it's 8CR. It's super easy. It's about 22 thousandths behind the edge, so not super thin. And with the blade stock thickness of 0.13, which is kind of thick for a knife this small, I didn't expect it to slice as well as it does, but you know what it does? It's a really good little slicer. I've really enjoyed using it. I really like I said, the blade shape. You got a good tip on there. You don't have to worry about snapping off. Just a really good little EDC blade shape for the kind of stuff that we actually EDC our knives for, not for the kind of stuff we pretend we do. It's pretty darn good. As far as the ergonomics go, I don't know why I was closing it there for a second. As far as the ergonomics go, it's a Vox. They're always good, and this is no exception. It's really good. Yeah, I can feel the pocket clip a little bit. I will say that. If there's one downside, it's at the edge of being a hot spot, but not really. I kind of thought that this backspacer was going to be a problem, but it isn't. In daily use, it just isn't. It does become pretty comfortable. I think in a knife this small, you're gripping primarily with your front 2 fingers anyway. At least I am. So I'm not really jamming it into the meat of my hand too much. I can put all 4 fingers on it, barely. Large size gloves, but skinny fingers, so keep that in mind. If you have big meat hands, you're probably not going to get all 4 fingers on it. This forward little, this is a glorified sharpening choil. I guess you can kind of choke up a little bit like that for doing really fine stuff, and I did do that a little bit, but I wouldn't recommend doing it all the time. Everything is nicely rounded off. The edges on the GFN are, I wouldn't call them smooth, but they're not sharp by any stretch of the imagination. And I had this apart, and I probably just could have sanded down the edges a little bit if I wanted to, but I didn't. And it's GFN. You don't have to worry about like a mask and all that stuff like you do with G10. So it's not too hard to sand down the edges a little bit if you choose to do that. I'm not going to. I think they'll wear off fine on their own, because this is a knife I'm probably going to carry a little bit. I got 3 knives the other day, 3 budget knives, and on Friday, and this is the one I've carried every single day since I got them. It's just a really cool design, and I like using it. So deployment wise, it's not mind-blowing by any stretch of the imagination. You can spuddy flick it. It's a lot easier when you don't have a tripod sitting next to you. There we go. You can spuddy flick it. You can thumb flick it. All that stuff that you're meant to be able to do. It does require a tiny little bit of wrist. I have taken this apart and lubed it up and stuff, and it's gotten a little bit better. It's never going to be drop shutty. You know, it's on Teflon, but it has broken in and gotten a lot better than it was. It's not going to be a super fun, fidgety kind of knife. It's just not going to be. It's $28.95, and you know, it's yeah. I don't expect the world from it. The lockup is pretty good. And quality-wise, I will say, address the elephant in the room. Every time I post a CRKT review, people go, "Oh, they're junk. They're always bad." This one's really nice. Centered pretty good. No issues. I honestly haven't had that many issues with CRKTs at all. I did have to send one back, the aforementioned Voss. It was the field strip one, and one of the washers wasn't sitting right. So, and they just sent me a brand new one. It wasn't a big deal. But other than that, I've really had no issues with them. But I know other people have. Somebody's going to say already down below, you should buy a Ganzo instead. Well, I don't review Ganzos for reasons I have explained many, many, many times. So don't ask me about that. But I really like this knife. And the thing I like the most about it, I think, actually, JT's Knife Life, which I'm going to link to his review down below. And I highly recommend you go watch it. He does the 10 things you need to know about. And he did it for the Piet. And he explained it better than I can. He really got a very succinct. This knife is as nice as it needs to be. And for $28.95, it is exactly as nice as it needs to be. I would go a bit farther as to say, I think it's a bit nicer than it needs to be. The little touches, you know, the recessed screws, all that stuff, you know, yeah. I think it's nicer than it needs to be. I really think it's nicer than it needs to be. The aluminum backspacer, there's so many touches on this that are a lot nicer than it needs to be for $28.95. I think they knocked it out of the park with this thing. I really, really do. We'll end with a carry. I'm trying to change up the order I do things in so my videos aren't always super predictable. We'll end with the carry, and we'll talk a little bit more about conclusions and things. But yeah, nice deep carry clip. It's very lightweight. Get your hand past it easily and all that stuff. It's a great knife to carry. Like I said, it's pretty much been all I've been carrying all weekend, and in my primary pocket anyway. It's wintertime, so I get to wear a jacket, so I can carry something cool in my jacket and something in whatever I'm reviewing in my right-hand pocket. That's the only thing I like about winter. But yeah, just a great knife. This is speaking way, 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 way too early. This is only, January 28th. Early contender for Budget Knife of the Year. I cannot fathom a world in which this won't make my top 10 for 2020 in the budget knife category. It's that damn good. And when I ordered these 3 budget knives that I got, it was this and the Thero and a Civivi. This is the one I was least excited about. And I think arguably it's the one that I enjoy the most, which did not see that coming. Should have known. Jesper Voxnaes, great designer. We're hand twins. Everything he designs fits my hands so well. That's why I call him my hand twin. That's a deep cut Friends reference, by the way. But yeah, really cool knife for $28.95. Give it a shot. I think they've sold through a few places, but check them out. If you want to go White Mountain Knives, whitemountainKnives.com. That's where I got this one from. As I said in the unboxing video, I'm not sure if they're still in stock there. But if you want to go there for anything you want to buy, SDWMK at checkout, use that code, 10% off. Not bad at all. So go check one of these out. I really think you should. I think if you are remotely a CRKT fan, this is a really, really, really good knife. And I hope to see these in store, like in like, you know, Dick's Sporting Goods and Bass Pro Shops and places like that sell CRKTs en masse. I really hope that we see them like that, because it's the right price and it's a really good knife, and it'd be really cool to get this in the hands of people. I really think this is a knife that if it was your first knife, it would get you into knives. So hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've been Brian. Have a good one.